the Evocati. So, an evocatus. This wasn't your average soldier. We're not talking about some fresh-faced recruit or a guy who was drafted. Nope. These were the grizzled veterans, the guys who had already put in their full 16, even 20 years of absolutely grueling service. They'd earned their honorable discharge, but instead of kicking back and retiring to a quiet farm, they voluntarily signed back up for more. And really, the name itself tells you everything you need to know. The Roman historian Cassius Dio lays it out for us. It comes from the Latin verb evoco, which literally means to call forth. See, these veterans weren't just showing up randomly. They were being personally summoned, called back into service by a commander who knew their skills were absolutely indispensable.
And, this wasn't just some informal thing that happened now and then. The Evocati actually evolved into a formal, super-organized corps. They played a huge strategic role in the Roman military for centuries, especially as a core part of the super-elite Praetorian Guard. Their whole story really tracks the rise and fall of Rome itself. I mean, you have the future Emperor Augustus using them on a massive scale during those bloody civil wars. Then later, you've got this ambitious Praetorian prefect, Sejanus, who really formalized their structure. Over the centuries, who was in the Evocati changed a bit, but their fate was always tied to the Praetorian Guard, right up until the very end when Constantine the Great dissolved them both.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, why on earth would a veteran who'd already put in 20 years choose to come back? Well, let's just say the invitation came with some incredible perks. Perks that put them in a whole different league from your average soldier. Okay, just try to picture the life of a regular legionary for a second. It's constant. Backbreaking labor. We're talking digging latrines, building massive fortifications, all under a blazing sun. But as an evocatus, you were exempt from all of it. Your experience made you way too valuable for that kind of grunt work. You even got to travel on horseback instead of marching for endless, dusty miles on foot. What a deal, right? Oh, and the benefits didn't stop there, not by a long shot. They got a salarium, which is more like a professional salary, not a standard soldier's measly stipend. They officially outranked the common legionaries and even carried these cool ceremonial rods, just like centurions, to prove it. But most importantly, they were the living, breathing, institutional memory of the army. They were the instructors, the surveyors, the administrators. These guys weren't just grunts. They were the essential trainers and technicians who made the whole Roman military machine run like clockwork. But believe it or not, even within this already super elite group of veterans, there was another level. An even more exclusive, more prestigious tier. Yep, these were the Evocati Augusti. And you couldn't just sign up for this corps. Oh no, you had to be hand-picked, often by the emperor himself, from the ranks of the absolute best veterans of his personal bodyguards, the Praetorian Guard. In that name, Augusti, that was everything. They were the only veteran corps that was allowed to use the imperial title. It was a clear signal of a direct personal link to the emperor. This special unit answered only to the Praetorian prefect, who was pretty much the highest military authority in all of Rome. Talk about having connections. So if you were an ambitious soldier, this was it. This was the fast track to a major leadership role. Serving as an Evocatus Augustus was basically the final crucial step before you got promoted to the highly respected and really powerful rank of centurion. It was a clear sign to everybody that you were destined for high command. All right, so let's hit the fast forward button, jump ahead 2,000 years, and get back to that first question we asked. How on earth has this ancient Roman concept of an elite, recalled veteran corps found a new life in the 21st century? Well, the answer, believe it or not, is in the incredibly ambitious space sim game Star Citizen. In that game, the very first wave of testers, we're talking a small, super trusted group chosen to test the earliest, most unstable game builds. They're called the Evocati Test Flight, and that name is absolutely not a coincidence. Now, the parallel isn't about the testers being soldiers, of course. It's about that original Latin meaning. Just like ancient Rome called forth its most experienced veterans for a special, critical duty, the game's developers call forth their most dedicated and trusted players to handle the buggiest, most challenging early versions of the game. I mean, isn't that incredible? A military concept from over 2,000 years ago is still the perfect name for an elite, trusted group given a critical task. It's this amazing linguistic legacy that has survived all that time and made its way right into our digital age. And this whole thing just goes to show you that the echoes of ancient Rome aren't just trapped in some dusty old history books. They're literally embedded in our language, in our culture, and yeah, even in our video games. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other pieces of the ancient world are just hiding there in plain sight?